Hello and welcome to this Town Talk episode with myself, Stephen Downs, and as ever, my trusty right-hand man, Kane Hall, is here to join me once again. Hi, Kane, how are you doing?
Yeah, afternoon. Well, evening, Steve. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me as always. Yeah, very good, mate. Good. Glad to be back at it. I know what day it is. Christmas time absolutely does me over. I have no idea if it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So to actually have a bit of a routine again has been bloody lovely.
Yeah, no, I agree. It does knock you out a little bit of your rhythm, but it was nice to have the period off. Although I was working, but in football, in and amongst that, we had the Wigan New Year's Day obviously cancelled. We did the preview, a couple of about a week or so ago, and we spoke slightly about the Rotherham game. Obviously, we've played that and we've won at Wycombe in between. We'll just quickly touch on the Rotherham game and then come on to more of the Wycombe game. But firstly, guys, if you are watching, please do get your comments in, like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And get involved in the conversation. We'll be talking all things transfer window, touching a bit on Tom Lees and the good form that he's been in particularly, and then previewing to Shrewsbury before we end today's pod. So, like I said, get your comments in. But yeah, we'll start with Rotherham. A Yorkshire derby that was always going to be, gritty. Obviously, not nice weather when the game was played, so it wasn't necessarily a game that I felt everybody necessarily was up for. But how did you see it, Kane? A 0-0 draw. I think we both were hoping for a win, but probably realised as well that it is a Yorkshire derby, so kind of anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. But apart from the fact that I've been watching Huddersfield for a long time and most of this season, you just kind of knew it was going to be dull, and it was. No, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. The game was okay. I've definitely watched better games this year. I've watched worse games this year. Rotherham, weirdly, I don't think are as bad as what the table says, or was it the fact that Huddersfield weren't great? Now we know Huddersfield aren't great. I thought Radolovic had a really good game.
Yeah,
it was linking up. It was holding strong, and I've said it for quite a while. I do like him anyway. I think he's got nice soft feet, and he's got a good technical ability about him. But he is soft, and I didn't see as much of his softness against Rotherham. Obviously, he just needs to get in the box at the right times as well. So his link-up play is good, but we need to find him in there as well, which is that is actually quite hard to do at times. But I thought he had a good game, and then I was looking around the others. Karoma was absolutely awful.
Awful, yeah.
Really bad. He just takes forever with every single thing that he does. It's always 5 or 6 touches. I'm going to touch on this again about somebody else later on in the podcast, but you can't be doing that. You do not have enough time to be taking 5 or 6 touches. For me, there was one big chance that game.
Yeah,
one big chance, and that was when the balls come in from Radolovic to Karoma. He's got to win that first time.
100%. And Bojan actually did really well to get away from the defender to put a ball in that wasn't a bad ball either. There could be no complaints.
Yeah, it did good. But Karoma, maximum 1 touch, but it has to be a touch and hit.
Yeah.
But why is taking a touch and another one and then trying to get round and then get round and then get round? Just waiting too long. You can't have a counter attack with him because he wants to wait, come back and try and take on his man rather than just trying to go around the outside when he's already got a bit of space. Oh no, I want to take a touch. I want to come back round. I want to try and do him again. And then if I do him again, I'm just going to wait. I want to hold back and cut back and I'm going to do it again. Can't do that. You can't.
Against Rotherham, I thought we saw the Karoma of 2 years ago where he just does the same thing. I mean, literally, he must have had 10 runs at their fullback and did the same thing every single time.
Yeah,
Literally every time. He stopped the ball, like you say, have 5-6 touches. But he always wants to cut inside and whip it with his right foot and have a shot on goal.
yeah. It's so easy to read and so easy to defend against. A lot of these clubs, they do video analysis, and if you're going up against Josh Karoma, you know exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah.
I want to see him just go around a man a little bit more, but I don't think it's his game. There's been a lot of talk. There's talks of him having interest from League One or Championship clubs. I'd be letting him go. I would be letting him go.
Yeah, well, we'll touch onto that when we talk more about the transfers. Just on other people in the game, like I say, I agree with you that Bojan had a good game. I thought Spencer did all right, particularly again. But one player that had a not very good game against Rotherham, but then made it up against Wycombe was Herbie Kane. There's obviously been a lot of pressure on that three in midfield. We missed Kasumu and Hodge has come back and played 60 minutes in both games. But, there's been a lot of effort being put in by Ben Wiles and Herbie Kane over the last 2 games. And I think, over the last 14 games or so. And you can see that it's starting to catch up on them.
Yeah, probably a little bit tired, mate. And, I've said this last few podcasts, and just repeating of kind of what I've been talking about. These lads are tired, and 1 week it might be turned for Herbie Kane to have a blinder. The next week it might be Ben Wiles. Not bothered which one it is, but I also think that they do a lot of work that we kind of don't really talk about because it's a lot of yardage that they're running, and we look at Herbie Kane and we look at Ben Wiles and we want them to be the ones that go and score goals, go and get assists. And in all fairness, they have been. They have been doing that, and sometimes they might have a quiet game, but they're doing the little 1%ers, and sometimes a little bit of a 1%er will take you a long way. And we talk about a performance and a result, like I have been, and performances haven't been there, but results have. Herbie Kane is definitely part of the reason Town are on the unbeaten run and have been getting a result and not a performance. Everything needs to click together to get the performance as well. But certain things are clicking to get that 1%er to get that result. And he is a part of it. Whether he has a quiet one or he has a good one, he's still good enough to be in that team and still offers you a lot going forward. But defensively as well, he's in the right place in the right time. The Rotherham game, Town changed formation, and I thought it was a bit of a breath of fresh air. I really, really did think it was a bit of fresh air. I enjoyed seeing it. I think they looked a bit more fluid. You can tell they've not worked on it as much as the other formation, but they looked so much more solid, despite the fact that it's not been worked on. And Herbie Kane kind of had to sit a little bit further back that game. So he's doing a lot in there. And, there's times where you might think, oh, he's not had a good game. It's probably because he's just not been involved that much, but because he's had to do something else.
Yeah. And in terms of like you said, the formation change probably did make a difference, and it was refreshing to see that. One thing that we did, there was kind of a bit of a disagreement in the WhatsApp chat, particularly after the Rotherham game, where I think me and Zach, who's another person that comes on the show from time to time, we were kind of saying, yes, we have put balls into the box plenty enough, and we're not finishing them. And I think you were kind of you were kind of on the other end of the argument, weren't you? That you think that at least we're creating the chances and that they will go in eventually. But there was an interesting, and we did, but there was an interesting discussion on Radio Leeds the other night of, do we think that this team and squad is good enough to go up? And I'm of the opinion that the defence is. I think we're solid enough. I don't think, neither Rotherham or Wycombe, and Wycombe have been scoring goals for fun in the league so far. They didn't really threaten us, to be honest. that much, and Rotherham definitely didn't. But we've got absolutely nothing up front at all.
I want look. Zach likes his stats, and that's fine. I'm not much of a stat man if I'm at a game watching. I know how to define a chance myself, and I don't see shooting from 25 yards away, getting it blocked by a defender on the edge of the box, or a cross going in and hitting the first man as a chance. Whereas I think some stats, websites or whatever apps, they do class it as one. So Town are trying to do a bit of that, but I think they can do a hell of a lot more. I think they can do so much more of it. It's getting it into the right positions, the key ones. How many times this season? Well, I'm just going to touch on Karoma again. Has he had the ball out wide left and he could have crossed it, but he hasn't, and he's
I
put in,
agree.
tried to take a shot. It's creating the right chances, and Town. I don't think Town have done that.
But there was a moment, and we are right to praise Bojan, but there was a moment where I can't remember who put the ball in. Might have been Spencer or somebody in the first half. And Bojan was nowhere near it. Now, to be fair to him, he was the only person in the box. There weren't anybody else in the box. And I think that is the problem, that it's not necessarily creating the chances, but we can't finish them at all. And you look at the stats of other sides up and around there. Wycombe are scoring goals. The lad up top that they had the other night, he's got 13. Even Bolton with Dion Charles, he scored some goals. Obviously, you've got Alfie May, of course, at Birmingham, who scored goals. And Wrexham have got Mullin and Fletcher to come off the bench, and they're scoring goals. So, yes, we are creating the chances, and I'd rather be a team that does create chances, but at some stage, not finishing them chances off is gonna bite us in the bum. And Karoma's chance, I agree, is very much a good example of that.
Yeah, it is. Now, pick me out another chance in that Rotherham game.
Well, like I said, the one that was crossed in for Bojan, and he's not, and he doesn't. Two, yeah, but yeah,
it's two. That's two clear chances. Whereas something on a stat might say there was 10. There's not. That's two chances. Like these players are not in the Premier League. They're not in the.
So you don't think that we are creating enough then?
No, I think seeing the quality of the players and having a different formula to what could be happening out there, I think more chances could be created. More clear-cut chances could be created a lot. I say this quite a few times. I don't feel as if the formation suits, and I'll continue to say that. But if you want to make it work, you've got to have a bit more of that going forward. So the reason why I liked the switch of formation against Rotherham, when you got four at the back, and he had the two sitting in. I prefer to just have one sitting in, but I know he was trying to match what Rotherham were doing. And then it was we've basically gone for 4-2-3-1. Obviously, that front four are all attackers. Yeah. Then your next two, one of them can go.
Yeah.
So what we got there, 5 attackers, your fullbacks, they can go. 7 attackers. As long as you leave 3 back there in a triangle, you can cover whatever you need to.
Yeah.
And then it's about getting them wingers inside the area, getting the fullbacks pushed up into the right positions to the cross, your 2 midfielders to get in the box as well. You could be looking at potentially having 4 or 5 players in there.
But, I agree.
But with Town at the minute, you've got the 3 at the back already. But that's a static line. That's a straight line across the field. So you don't have the ability for someone in front to go and attack a ball on a clearance. So you're having to leave another player further back. So that's now you've got 4 players back before you had 3. And then you've got your wing backs who are always up and down as it is. You can't expect them to be up there and then back there. So most of the time they're going to be sitting quite back already. So you've got that's 6 players further back now. Your
Yep.
midfielders are doing the same stuff. So one of them's going to go, the other one's going to sit. So we're looking at 7 players now sitting back for a ball that goes into the box. And one of them's going to be a cross that leaves you with 2 players to aim for. So
No, you make a valid point. You make a valid point. I think stats in modern football does skew a lot of things, doesn't it? And people do get
expected goals is a load of.
That is one of TalkSport and Sky Sports' favourite things. That expected
Yeah, they
goals.
love it. Oh well, they had so many shots and they should have scored. Yeah, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Well done. You had a good XG. It means nothing. It means nothing.
Wycombe probably had a better XG than us the other night, but
does it mean anything?
But they didn't score. No,
it means jack. It means absolutely nothing. And after the Rotherham game, it were 52 shots. Town had on goal, and they scored 1, and that was a header
by centre back.
By a centre half.
I love that stat. I think it's a great stat.
It's a great stat. You're right. But in that Burton game, when Town had the ball on the edge of the area, what did they do?
Not
side
a lot.
To side and tried to go through. But when the ball got crossed into the box and they left a man up from a corner, buff, goal. Get the ball inside the box.
Yeah.
That's how you create a chance. And I don't think they do it enough, but I don't think they're getting the players in there as well, because you're having to get players to commit. They're having to do so much sprinting as it is to come back. They don't want to.
But talking of... Go on, sorry.
Go on, mate, sorry.
I was just going to sort of talk about, obviously, there was a comment here from James who says about Karoma. That said on Karoma, Duff made him address it v Wycombe. He needs to keep it varied to be a really good wide player, in my opinion. And I agree with that, James.
It could be a fantastic wide player if we were played in the right position. He's a left winger.
Yeah.
He's a left winger. He's not a left wing back, and he's not a striker. And yet he's got a nice, lovely finish when he cuts in onto his right and opens his body up. But he does it all the time.
Yeah, the best wingers are varied. Just look at the. I know it's a different level, but just look at Liverpool. Salah, Diaz, Jota. They can do it all, can't they?
Yeah, and the professional footballers are good players regardless. But I need to see something different from Karoma. But it's hard for him in a position that he don't play. You know what? He's been valiant in defence recently in that wing back role. I think he's put a good shift in defensively. It's not what he's used to doing, but he's given it all defensively. I can't fault him for that at all, Steve. I really can't fault him for it. But I just want him to be a little bit quicker going forward. But that's a whole thing. The whole team needs to be quicker in terms of the tempo, the way they pass the ball.
I agree. It's too slow, and particularly against Burton and Rotherham at home. I think the home crowd was quiet because of that reason.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've said this. I say this every week.
One part of the game that was a little bit not annoying, but it was the fact that our new signing Ruben Rudin came on the field for 5 minutes and then got sent off. Even when we buy new players, they either get injured or get sent off. I mean, it probably was a red. You were probably more in line of it in the press area than I was. What really irritated me, and I mean I don't like him anyway, but the fact that Steve Evans made it out to be like he killed the Rotherham lad, and yet he jumped up 5 seconds later and was all right sprinting around. So. It probably was a red, probably to do with too much enthusiasm came, but obviously it was just a bit sad that he got sent off on his debut.
Yeah, well, at first glance, I thought it were a yellow because I don't think he had the stud showing. I thought he'd turned his boot away and tried to win the ball because the ball was like at knee height as it was.
Yeah,
when his leg first went in there, but modern day football in it, so it's probably a red.
Yeah,
I don't really have much else to say about it apart from. What do you expect? A player goes down wanting another player to get sent off. As soon as they get sent off, they're absolutely fine. That's just the way football is. and it's terrible. It's boring. I hate it. But yeah, it's a shame for that lad. But he'll learn, and hopefully he'll learn quickly because Town need him.
Yeah, they do. Moving on to Wycombe on Tuesday night, obviously, so we're taking a draw against Rotherham. Probably out the two results, you would have expected it maybe to be the other way around. Win against Rotherham, draw against Wycombe, who were in second place at the time. It was second v fourth, and with the win, Herbie Kane scored the goal in the first 15 minutes. I'll be honest, I watched the entire game. Without Kane scoring that goal, I don't think we'd have scored. But then again, I don't think Wycombe would have scored either. I didn't see anything from them. And it was probably more boring than the Rotherham game because it didn't have any bite to it either, really, apart from the lad from Luton. The centre back. What's his name? Bradley. Sonny Bradley was about 20 foot tall, trying to elbow Radulovic in there about 10 times. So a win against Wycombe, Kane. I know that you've probably had a chance to watch the highlights. Obviously, a great result against second in the table.
Yeah, I missed the game actually yesterday, so I'm not going to try comment too much because I don't feel like it's fair on me to do so. But let me just quote what Michael Duff said. It wasn't a great performance, but it was a great result. Has he been watching this show? How many times have I said that over the weeks?
You've said it quite a lot.
He's grinding out a result. The performances aren't great. They're not great to watch, but he's getting a result, and it was the same yesterday. I thought Herbie Kane's finish, by the way, was superb. Really, really good finish. And in the second half, what did Town do? Town did nothing in the second half. Chapman having to make some good saves again.
There was one moment though, he came to collect it, and there was a shot, and it bounced off his chest, and I just thought I could just see the panic in everybody in the box, like Chapman, everybody, and luckily I think it was Tom Lees who showed a bit of calmness and cleared it away. But yeah, that was the only moment that I thought, oh dear, we're going to end in a draw here. But apart from that, they created absolutely nothing, Kane, if I'm honest. Like, for the fact that Coney has scored 13 in the league, didn't really show. But that's praising Town's defence.
Yeah, well, Town are good at nullifying teams. They just nullify themselves as well at the same time, which is why it's making these games so tight, and that's why it's never a great performance, and why it's only a great result. So you nullify the opposition, which is fantastic, but they're nullifying themselves. And I do think they've become very resilient defensively over the last few months. And it's been fantastic to see that, and that is coming from the back because Chapman's, he's making some fantastic saves. He's good with ball and feet, some good shot stopping, and there seems to be a confidence throughout that back line. Ollie Turner's got his first goal for the club. Spencer's got his first goal for the club. Hellick's still scoring for Town at the moment, but I hope he gets well soon, and I hope he's not having to go see a specialist in Coventry. Pearson scoring. Tom Lees. I know you want to touch on it, but there's players who are full of confidence back then. If you've got a player who's confident, you've got a dangerous player. They will work together. Lees, Pearson, and Hellick know each other's game inside out because they've been playing together for the last 3 years.
I do want to touch on Tom Lees because I don't think sometimes he gets the credit that he deserves, and he's a very calm head in that back line, and he does move he's the one that seems to, when it changes, moves from the left to the right and the right to the left of the three. So he's just a constant compliment, professional, isn't he, really, Kane? I mean, he's experienced and he's been there and done it, and I think that will stand Town in good stead as long as we can get the attacking features sorted, that when it comes to the really big games at the end of the season, hopefully we are going to be up there, that players like Tom Lees, because they've been there and done it, it's sort of like it doesn't overawe them.
Yeah, I like Tom. Physically and professionally, he's a beast. He's a good player. But I said I was going to touch on someone and being slow with the ball. Tom Lees is slow with the ball at the minute. I do, he's been taken off at half time a couple of times recently because he's just not quick enough with it. Now,
Yeah.
that's probably going to be a mixture of the players in front of him and himself, wanting to make sure he gets the right pass. Defensively, no qualms at all. No qualms at all. He's so experienced. He's a quality player. I thought we were a fantastic signing on a free win town. Got him. And I still think he's a fantastic player. But he's been a little bit slow for me, Steve. So I was actually quite surprised that you put this in the agenda. But again, this is what we watch and the opinions and stuff around football, and that's what the beauty of football is. Because he is a fantastic player and he deserves praise week in, week out for his defensive performances. He's solid as a rock. He normally starts on the right hand side of that back three. If someone comes off, he moves over to the left. He can do both. He's got that qualities about him. But he's a little bit slow with that ball at the minute.
No,
And
I agree.
I've been talking about tempo and wanting that ball to be moved quicker and have a faster game. He's stopping that from happening at times. And again,
Yeah.
that is a mixture between Tom himself wanting to make the right pass and the players in front of him. If he doesn't have them there, what else is he supposed to do? Again, that goes further out. You look at the formation, the shape, the system, all in all. But I think Tom's great. I really do like him as a player. His experience out there, captain the side on Tuesday. And I like that when he's captain because he offers so much.
How many times do you see him make a mistake? That's the thing for me. You never ever, we've seen the odd one from Hellick, we have seen the odd one from Pearson at times, but you never ever see Tom Lees make a mistake. I can't even remember the last time he did one.
Rarely makes a mistake. Rarely makes a mistake, and that's so consistent. He's so consistent as a player. You know what you get. You're going to get 7 out of 10 at least every week from Tom Lees, at least. And that's how important he is to the club. And yeah, sometimes he's a little bit slow with the ball, but everything else is exactly what the club needs. And yeah, he offers you so much. And like I said, 7 out of 10 every week, you're going to pick that. He's probably one of the first names on the team sheet. It would be for me.
But I do accept your criticism of him being slow with the ball. I think that is a very fair point because that particularly in the home games you've seen against Burton and Rotherham, which I think he was taken off. Was it both games at half time? And that's no damning incitement on his defending abilities, but I do think that is a fair point of he needs to be quicker for sure.
Yeah, it does need to be quicker. I think the Rotherham game, it was just inside the second half, but the Burton game was at half time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was at half time was the Burton game. So that does tell you a little bit about the tactics that something needed to change, and that change was quickening the game and unfortunately bringing Leesy off.
One area that we probably don't need to strengthen then in the transfer window, unless somebody does go Hellick to Coventry, is probably not in the defensive areas. I do think Spencer is playing at the level that we'd hoped him be. Turton, okay, doesn't really cross the ball very well, but he's good defensively. And Ruffles is a consummate professional. You can tell that when he came on against Wycombe for the last 10 minutes. But obviously, all the other areas are up for grabs when it comes to the January transfer window. And we've had a comment here from Terrier930. By all accounts, the Joe Taylor deal, which is obviously one that everybody's wanting from Luton, seems dead and has gone down the plug hole. So inquiring about Dion Charles, but he's got a £3 million release clause at the moment from Bolton. There's lots of names. The main one, Kane, is Joe Taylor. Let's not beat about the bush. What is your opinion of this transfer? Because in the last 48 hours, genuinely, it's gone from it's definitely happening. It's in the building. It's going to be signed. It's all done. To now this evening, literally it seems like the deal is dead. Luton's just sacked the manager, Rob Edwards, and we ain't got another backup to go. It's such a town thing, isn't it?
It is. Have they actually sacked him now?
I don't believe so, but I mean, everybody's reporting it.
There's talk of him
Mutual consent in it.
mutually parting ways, which changes a lot of things for a club in January and for players, because you've got an asset there that a different manager might want and a different manager might like. Currently, he's not in favour. Currently, the idea is that he comes to Huddersfield Town. But Luton, they need some players. This was said in the summer. They need to bring reinforcements in before they let Joe Taylor go. Same is still going to be the case. But everything's going to be moved on, because if the manager goes, what reinforcements do they want? A new manager's going to have to rethink this. And do they get a new manager within the next couple of days? You don't know. You'd like to think that Luton have got a bit of class about them, unlike West Ham, who everyone knew they were getting Graham Potter before they'd sacked the current coach.
Yep.
Whereas, hopefully, you'd like to think that Luton have a bit of respect for Rob Edwards, who's got them up into the Premier League. Yeah, regardless to come down, he'll be a legend at the club. They'll give him the chance, and then if he wants to go, they'll do it right, and they'll have an idea who they want, but they won't be doing interviews while he's still in charge. I'd like to think not, because that's an absolute disgrace, by the way. So you don't know what's going to happen. The player's an asset to that club. If something's going to change, he is still an asset, and a new manager might like him. A new manager might want him. If Town want to get it done, they've got to do it now.
But what does that mean? What does that mean, though? Luton are in the driving seat, aren't they? They're going to say, "Look, we're not letting him go." But to me, it is a bit embarrassing if we have had him in the building twice. Whether we can control the situation or not, it really does support us heading to kind of find out that we've kind of had him in the building twice and it's still not being done. And I it's the 8th of January now. We know what the issues are. We need strikers. We've obviously got rid of some off the books. Kieran Phillips has gone. Harrott's now gone to Fleetwood. We need people in the building. Do we just say, right, I'm sorry, we're just going to have to move on? There's nothing that, but then who are you moving on to? That's the other part of it. Dion Charles has been mentioned. Hardy's been mentioned at Plymouth. But they all cost money. And are we willing to put money in? That's the thing.
Yeah, they all cost money. And, obviously, if Taylor's been up in the building again, great. He's clearly ready to sign. But he can't do anything about it. Football is so unpredictable. Anything could happen. Absolutely anything could happen.
I mean, he must be raging as well. He has to be, because he's not being played at Luton. Yeah, I know what you're saying about a new manager and he might like him, but realistically, he's fourth choice at the moment at Luton. I mean, the lad clearly wants to go out and play football, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he does. I remember when Danny Warder injured until Neil Warnock came in, and then he were fit again. Players don't play, and then someone new comes in, and then they do play. Stuff like that happens all the time. So, yeah, it's just, yeah, and obviously there's a rumor about Dion Charles as well, and I know there's a message, a comment about £3 million. I would not be paying £3 million for another player in League One.
No.
Who's only got 7 goals. I don't think he's worth that at the moment, but you got to put your money where your mouth is. If the chairman wants to go up, he's going to have to spend some. On your priority target, which is Joe Taylor, and I'm sure he's going to be doing that. But I'd be ringing up Luton every hour. Is this happening yet? Make it happen. Why is it not happening? What can we do to make it happen? What else can I do? What about this? Can I help this? I need to do this. What do you need to happen? I'll call them. You're supposed to be signing them. Right, I'll call them. Make it happen. What do you want me to do?
There is a rumor that they are interested in. I forget his name. Isaiah Jones, is it, from Middlesbrough? Now, obviously, he's not the same type of player as Joe Taylor, so probably wouldn't be a direct replacement. But it's just so frustrating, Kane, and it. You see these rumours and bloody. You're scrolling. Well, you might not be, but you spend 80% of your screen time looking at Twitter or down at the Mac, obviously that reliable source of a website, Facebook and whatever else, and seeing it and speaking to people who might have a bit more of an idea about what's going on. And it's just so frustrating. I mean, apart from the Joe Taylor stuff, where else, do you think that we should be signing? And do you think that there's any, rumours going around at the minute that have interested you with any other players?
No, I think midfield would be good. Obviously, keep as many of them players in there as fresh as possible. So, I know a couple of players are coming back from injury, but the amount of work that they're having to do out there is probably too much. So to get another body in there, maybe a possible another loan, would be where I'd be looking at. But striker is priority, if not 1, 2.
Yeah.
Because obviously Ward's out for the season.
Yep.
In my opinion, was he adding much? Nobody. He just had 2 good games. So I was kind of disappointed for him on a personal level. I really felt for him because that is going to be his career now.
Yeah, I think he'll retire at the end of the season.
With a knee injury like that, and the club are sticking by him and doing well by they're going to help him out with a physio and get him his treatment by all accounts, and he'll feel like he deserves that. But he weren't doing enough for me anyway. Like I say, he had 2 decent games up until that injury. Ladapo ain't doing enough for me. Bojan now needs to start scoring. His link-up play is good. He looks a little bit stronger, a bit happier. Now needs to put the ball in the back of the net. Can't rely on Callum Marshall to do that. You can't rely on Karoma to do that because 1, he's not a striker, and 2, will take 10 touches before he takes a shot. So you've got a lot of pressure on a young man there. So yeah, striker 1 or 2 of them coming in would be ideal.
Let's move on to talk about the other teams around the division that are up there. Obviously, Wycombe. We have played everybody now. Wycombe, we've talked about a little bit. Wrexham and Birmingham. The playoff position is looking interesting with people like Reading, Barnsley. Bolton have now been on a good run. We have played everybody once now, Kane, and in terms of Rotherham twice. What's your opinion of the division as a whole? Where do we stand? I think if we did have a striker of some degree, I think we would be even closer to that top 2 than what we are. But I'm not seeing anybody really of any great shake, if I'm honest. Maybe bar Birmingham, who can finish.
There's some terrible teams. Some of this football is absolutely horrendous. It's so bad. Like, I knew going down wasn't going to be fun, but I didn't think the quality would be this bad from the majority of the teams that I'm seeing. Can't string 5 passes together. These boys are professional footballers.
Yeah.
I generally didn't realise how bad it was going to be. I've seen, from the home games, I've seen 2 decent teams. 3 maybe. Lincoln, Wigan, Stockport.
Yeah.
3 teams who can play football, just need to add something to them. Wigan don't go forward enough, but can play some nice football. Lincoln got too tired.
Yeah.
But played some nice football. Stockport played some nice football. Probably tried
rely heavily on Barry, or did do.
Yeah, but they also took the 2 best players off in that game.
Yeah.
They took the 2 best players off who were running the show. So decision making not that great. Everyone else, I'm struggling to see somebody that's going to go, oh yeah, they'll beat Town today. And now Town, look, results wise, I don't think we give them enough. I know I don't. I don't give them enough credit results wise, because it has been good with the amount of injuries, etc., that is going on at Town. The results that Michael Duff is getting are actually unbelievable. To be fair, it is
Yeah.
very, very good. I know I'm one of the biggest critics, and he doesn't get the credit enough about some of the results that he's been getting with the players that he's currently got, because the amount of players that are injured. I get that, but I'm not entertained as someone watching the game. It is dull. It is
Yeah.
dull at times. All right. So going from what I've seen, even though Town aren't great, and I still think Town should beat the majority of teams in this league, regardless of how well Town are playing or how well they're not playing or what results going to happen. I see Huddersfield Town as an absolute dominant team in this league. There ain't anybody else in this league with the amount of quality in their squad than Huddersfield.
Bar
Probably Birmingham, Huddersfield, two teams with quality across the board. That's what gets you promotion. That's what wins you leagues. That's what wins you games. And that's what we are seeing. How many injuries Town have got, and yet they're still pulling out results.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know what you think, but obviously, Rotherham came down with us, and everybody thought that Steve Evans would have them up there. They are terrible. Let's not get it right. They are terrible.
I didn't actually think they were that bad. I didn't think they were that bad. I think that their league position is a little bit different to what it should be. They just don't want to go forward.
Without Wilkes, I didn't think they had a lot, if I'm honest.
I thought Nombe had a good game as well, but that's it. They had two players up front who were going to win headers, and then no one in the box.
Yeah.
Again, Wigan, go forward. If they went forward, there'd be a quality team, but they don't.
Yeah.
And Lincoln, if they didn't get tired, there'd be a quality team, but they don't. This is what I'm talking about. There's like teams are so scared to go and attack. They don't bother. And it's so negative. And I look around at teams and I just think there ain't no good teams in here.
From the games that you have seen, what name the worst team that you've seen us play?
Play against themselves.
I genuinely think Cambridge. I mean,
yeah. Look, let's not slander any other teams here, Steve. Come on, but the Town's worst enemy are themselves.
Yeah, and that comes on to nicely the weekend's game against Shrewsbury, because they are again another terrible, terrible side. But we're coming up against a team which has got Ainsworth in charge, who used to be in charge of QPR. Not a good manager in my eyes, but he at least gets his players up for it, and they will be up for it. And we don't have a good record of going to Shrewsbury, and it could genuinely. I mean, we didn't play against them earlier on in the season. I think it ended up being a draw.
It was 1-0. It was 1-0, and Shrewsbury were a lot better than what everyone thought. But again, Town weren't great either. Town are their worst enemy. Look, some of these teams in here are absolutely dreadful. They're shocking. Don't get me wrong, they're terrible. Even I think I could do a job for some of these. And I'm very injury prone. I'm nearly fit enough, but I'm still very injury prone.
Are you like Danny Ward then?
Yeah, pretty much. But I'll win an header or two anyway. There's some poor teams. There really is some poor teams. But Town, I personally think that Town put themselves down to that level. If they just played themselves, like fast football, nice, good tempo, press in the right areas, they would be unstoppable. Yes, they probably do need a striker who's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Marshall is doing as good a job as he is. Wiles is doing a decent job from midfield. Herbie Kane's starting to pop a little bit more. Kasuma was there. Make the most of set pieces with Hellick, Lees, and Pearson. There's enough fire in that squad to go and pummel absolutely everybody, but they don't.
Yeah. So, on that basis, Terrier 930 has said that the game probably will be called off because they haven't got under-soil heating. Let's hope it isn't, because I'd quite like to see us win again on Saturday if we can. And I don't think it is a good idea to be backing up games if we can help it. Obviously, I know it's not our choice or whatever. If the game is off, it's off. But I'd rather get points in the bag rather than games in hand, if I'm honest. So what is your prediction, Kane, then? Let's go for a prediction and let's go for that all-important question, who's going to score the goals? Because that's what we argue about every time we see each other.
I'm going for PP.
PP? You postponed?
Yeah, postponed. That's what we'll go for this week, Steve.
Okay. If the game is on in some miracle way.
Yeah. Look, a game where I'm looking at and go, Town should be getting 2 past these. But Gareth Ainsworth he'll make them tough at the back and stronger. They've got to be, again, resilient down at the bottom of the league. Quality-wise, Town have got a lot more quality, and that will show. But it's going to be a scrappy one in them conditions, away from home. You're looking at a 1-0 victory, aren't you, for Huddersfield Town? And your goal scorer, Steve, you know what? He's going to do it, isn't he? He's going to do it. Freddie Ladapo's going to do it.
Okay. So Freddie Ladapo, 90th minute winner away at Shrewsbury.
No, he's probably going to start.
He's probably going to... Well, I won't let him start. I think Rudilovic has done all right, to be fair, in the last 2 games.
No, yeah.
So,
Rudilovic has been good since
I'd have Bojan starting. I don't think he did... All right, he probably Rotherham was his better game out of the 2, but I think his hold-up play, he definitely worked better than what Freddie did against Rotherham. I mean, he came on and made a difference, and against Burton. So, yeah, I'd start Radulovic and Marshall. I think you've got to start Marshall. End of the day, we ain't got anybody else, have we? So
no, just strikers.
Yeah, so hopefully by the time we get to Shrewsbury, you never know, we might have a few transfers in, but then again, probably not. So as ever, it's been my pleasure to host this program. Thanks very much, Kane, for coming on. I hope you have a good rest of the week and stay safe in the ice.
Thank you very much, Steve. You too, bud.
Cheers, and thank you for everybody getting the comments in. Please do like and share the video. It really helps, and we'll see you very soon, probably next week, after a 1-0 Freddie Ladapo win for Town. See you later.